My name is Alexandria Kwon, or Lexie Kwon. And these are my two colleagues, Cameron and Sydney, and they helped me with this research project. So we're just going to be addressing what our paper was mainly about, which is the Angel and Devil game. So Cameron will start us out with a brief history of the game.
All right, so the game that we looked at for this paper was the Angel and Devil game that was formally introduced in 1982 by the British mathematicians Berlekamp, Conway, and Guy. They posed the classical version of the game where the angel moves similarly to a chess king. And what they were looking at, and they actually did conclude, was whether or not the devil could win in that configuration of the game. In the decades since, other questions have been posed, variations of the game have been considered, and literature has been produced. In our paper, we look at whether or not the devil can win in what is referred to as an imperfect information variant of the game, which will be touched on later by Lexie. Where for some predetermined amount of moves, the angel's position is not currently known to the devil. For contrast, in the classical version of the game by those three mathematicians in 1982, as well as many others since, the angel's position is always known to the devil. Now, Sydney will actually take a little bit of time to outline how restricted version of the game works, the one that we discuss in section 2 of our paper, so that the game can be a little bit more familiar.
Sounds good. Also, can you guys enable me to screen share? Because I have a little visual that'll help better understand the subject, if that's possible. But I'll just start out by saying a couple things, like this game is played on an, oh, here we go. So can y'all see this PowerPoint presentation? Okay, see. So the original game presented by Berlekamp, Conway, and Guy is played on an infinite chessboard where the angel, which is denoted by this yellow character right here, moves one square at a time, much like a king, to any of these squares, and the devil, which is denoted by this red dot, deletes one square at a time. The devil wins if the angel cannot make any legal moves, and the angel wins if they can always make a legal move. A move would be considered illegal if the angel moved to a deleted square, so that's, let's say the angel's right here and it moves here, that is legal. Or if the angel moves more than one square at a time. So instead of moving to here, they move here, or anywhere that's more than one square, that's illegal. For understanding the sake of the game and how the two players interact, I'm going to explain a variation of the game that'll really represent that. So for the sake of this variation, let's say that the angel can only move up and in one direction. So that means this player can only move here, here, here. So up and in one direction. So we start out. So we start out with the devil making the first move. So they make their move, the angel moves, the devil makes their move and deletes the square. The angel moves across the board, the devil moves, the angel moves, devil moves, the angel moves, then the devil moves. If you can see here that we've actually caught the angel right here because they cannot make any more legal moves because these are all blocked. And this is proven in our paper on page 3, section 2, if you have it. But that's just for the sake of this variation of the game. In the full version of the game, this angel can move to any of these squares, and that's how the full version works, but the devil works the same way. And that'll be touched on in how we prove that the devil can win by Lexie. So,
okay, so the main goal of our research was to prove that the devil can still win against the sneaky angel in an imperfect information variation of this game. So the main difference between perfect and an imperfect information game is that in a perfect information game, the players all know what's going on during the game at all times. However, in an imperfect information game, there is some restriction or technicality that leaves one of the players at a disadvantage. So they may receive details in the game in a delayed manner or like not at all. So in our game, the angel is considered sneaky when the devil does not know what move the angel has made until K turns after the move has already been played. So we proved this using some previously proven strategies that can be found in sections 2, 3, and 4 of the paper. And I'm just going to quickly run through what those generally kind of outline. So we first begin by proving that the devil can win against the angel if it is restricted to moving exclusively upwards. So as shown by Sydney, the devil can essentially build a wall sufficiently far from the angel's starting position above it, so that once the angel approaches that wall, the devil has already deleted any potential legal move that the angel can make. So in proving this, it means that the devil has successfully captured the angel. So I'm gonna quickly share like a whiteboard screen so I can just draw some pictures to help better explain this. So in the case of the restricted up angel, like I was explaining just now and as Sydney has shown, if you can only move in the upward 3 directions like this, then the devil can build just a wall right above it, blocking any potential legal move. So we took this theory and we translated it to proving that the devil can win against the side-to-side angel. So the side-to-side angel is essentially the same as a upwards angel, but it can also move to the square directly to the right and the square directly to the left of the angel. So it can move to like the 5 squares like surrounding it from above. So this theorem can be seen on page 8, at the bottom of page 8 on theorem 3. But in essence, what occurs is that the devil has to build 2 walls sufficiently far to the left and to the right of the angel, so that once the angel approaches this rectangular like section almost, then the devil will play by the previously proven strategy of building the wall across the top as well, like boxing in the angel. So again, as previously proven, if the angel tries to move upwards, then the upwards wall will prevent it from escaping. And if the angel tries to move to the right or to the left, then these 2 pre-made walls will successfully stop him. So thus the devil has successfully trapped the angel. So we took these 2 ideas and we moved to proving the power 1 angel, which was proposed by the previous mathematicians, where the angel can move to all 8 surrounding squares, so much like a chess king. In order to do this, we proved that the devil builds like these corners of a box almost sufficiently far from the angel's starting position. So if the angel is here, then it's like these 4 like corners. So whenever the angel enters one of these like rectangular regions, the devil will play by the previous strategy of again building that top wall. So in this case, the devil plays in reaction to the angel's move. So if the angel enters like this top rectangular box, then the devil will start to play by deleting the rows above the angel. However, if the angel like enters this box halfway and then decides to like leave and go to this other rectangular section, then the devil will not continue to fill this one in, but will start to fill this box in. So eventually, all 4 like sides of the box will be filled in, and the angel will be successfully captured by the devil. So that was kind of the rough outline of how to trap the power 1 angel. So using that strategy, we moved to proving that the devil can still win against the sneaky angel. So in the imperfect information variation of this game. So we proved that the devil can capture the angel even if it is even if k is an arbitrarily large number. So say like the devil is 1 billion moves behind the angel, we prove that if he uses this winning strategy, he'll still be able to capture the angel. This isn't immediately obvious, considering like how large the number is, and like it might not seem obvious initially that the devil will still be able to win. But taking the strategy that we proved for the power 1 angel, the devil must just take into account the value of k, so how many moves behind the angel he is, and essentially build the box like sufficiently far away. So we note that the box's corners, or like the size of the box, will be significantly larger than the power 1 angel proof. So he has to take into account the size of k. So in essence, we defined a strategy that builds a wall row like row n away. So if like the angel is here, then we prove a strategy that builds the wall row n away from the angel starting position, so that once the angel reaches like 3/4 n row, once the angel like moves and it plays up to 3/4 n, then the row above, like on row n, on the row that we're building the wall to trap it, we will have a section of 1/4 n width that is completely deleted by the devil prior to the angel reaching 3/4 n. So this entire like section will be deleted. That is directly above the angel, including like maybe some outliers here and there. So the main part of our paper was proving that this section of deleted squares above the angel approaches infinity as the row n that we're building on approaches infinity. Thus, the further away the wall is built from the angel, the more the devil has secured his win. In a sense, it's like more of the area is blocked the further away he builds. So, in conclusion, besides just learning about this particular game, the angel and the devil game, we learned a lot about like games and how to work with game theory. And we were taught how to utilize like our academia and our individual skills to cohesively like work together to write a formalized paper. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Lexie, and Cameron and Sydney. If you will, there we go. So let's give, yes. We have some virtual claps going on from the other attendees for all of you. So let's give people an opportunity to ask questions of our presenters. Anyone? Well, I am one of the outsiders here, so I'm allowed to ask dumb questions, right? So I will first of all, in my limited brief introduction here, I asked in the middle of your the presentation whether deleting means that it is any space is deleted forever, and since the answer was yes, then I get the impression that unless you have an infinite grid, the angel can never win, right? So if you had a limited grid, eventually the angel will lose,
right?
Which is a pretty obvious statement. Do you find a correlation of just looking for efficiency in the strategies of a limited grid? Is there a correlation with those types of strategies of just what is the most efficient way for the devil to win in a limited size grid, and whatever happens with your proofs of the possibility of the devil winning in an infinite grid?
So our research actually does tackle the infinite grid. So we're assuming that the angel can, in theory, move forever. He could like always go to the right, like just for like infinity. In the case of a limited graph, we didn't really, I don't know, Cameron and Sydney, did we really consider, I know in the beginning, in the early phases of our research, we tried to prove using like brute force, like by proving like with each individual like step of the angel, like all the branches of possible like ways that the devil could delete a square. And what we just proved, that actually ended up being the most optimal way for the devil to win in an infinite grid. But in a restricted grid, it would depend on like the size of the grid, or like the situation of the angel at the starting point. Like if the angel starts in the direct center of a restricted grid, that might be different from if the angel started at the bottom of a restricted grid or in the corner, or like it all depends, because in an infinite grid, it's like infinite. So there's all these possible like ways that the angel can move and the devil can delete.
Okay, thank you. Isaac has his hand up.
Wait, okay, I'm unmuted. Hi, great job again. So it seems to me like with a finite grid, all the devil has to do is randomly take away spaces until the angel runs out of land, right? Because they can't escape that grid. So like when you're proving something in infinite space, all you have to do is find a way for the devil to draw a border around the angel, because at that point, he just has to take away all but one space. So you don't actually have to show all those steps. You just have to show that he can draw a border, right? Could you, like with a finite grid, restructure the game so that the angel only has to escape the grid? Like if it's like a 10 by 10 square, the angel just has to walk off the border. Would that be similar to the problem, do you think?
I think that
guess
could be a variation of the game. But it wouldn't necessarily be like the same idea or the same like theorems, if that makes sense. Because like you're using a restricted grid, first of all, and then also like to have the angel move off of the grid. I guess like that could be a different variation of the game. I don't know if Cameron or Sydney want to add on to anything that I'm saying.
So the classical version of the game, the one that we were working with when we were writing this paper, the angel wins if he, like we said, if he he's able to move indefinitely, if he's able to outmaneuver the devil to the point where the devil can never trap him. So if the game ever ends in a finite way, then the devil does win. Because then at some point, even if, say, you made a border around him, which was, I guess, 100 squares in radius, it would take a while to typewriter and fill it all the way in. But the devil would still win at some point. And like you said, that could be an interesting variation to check out, but I don't think I could give you an answer on that one, particularly.
In the original literature, they showed that if the devil wins, then there's actually a finite, like there's a bound on the box size required. The angel can't play in such a way as to increase the required sort of cage size. So I believe I'm not sure if they proved that in the original book where they introduced the game, but it was known pretty early on.
And in terms of the what you said earlier about like we have to just find like a way to just like encase the angel, it's actually not trivial to just like build a circle around the angel, because by the time that you're like typewriting like the circle around him, he can already like escape out the other way.
Right. So
you have to like strategize how to trap him, if that makes sense.
Right. But as soon as you do find some sort of like containment for the angel, at that point you're done. Even though that strategy,
because then it's just a matter of like filling it in, which is yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
So one
Go ahead, Houston, go ahead.
One direction we could potentially even go with that, going in this with the finite question, which would certainly open some things up, is if instead of working on a grid, one worked on different classes of graphs, one could ask exactly how long the angel could be escaping for. I mean, eventually, of course, if it's a finite graph, he's certainly caught at some point. But the question is, how long could a strategy play out before he was trapped? And I think that plays into the efficiency we're talking about, is just how quick does this thing work?
Yeah, and that's why I was wondering about a measure of efficiency being correlating the with that infinite possibility. No, that's very, very interesting. Great job.